If you're looking to move out of your parents' place, you could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial. You're blood related. You'd think it would be fine to share food in the fridge. I mean, who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese, Tyler? Still, you've got to admire the commitment. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and use the savings to help you move out and have all the cheese you want. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
At the Home Depot, we're dedicated to helping you build the skills that get your home projects done right. That's why we offer free and interactive online DIY workshops. During the live streams, our knowledgeable associates help you tackle your DIY projects no matter your age or skill level. You can learn how to install new single-pole switches, as well as standard duplex and GFCI outlets. Register for free at homedepot.com/workshops. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie reporting for duty from MCHQ for another bonus episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast. The new horror film, The Retaliators, came out this weekend. And if you don't know anything about it, it's described as an upstanding pastor who uncovers a dark and twisted underworld as he searches for answers surrounding his daughter's brutal murder. And the film and soundtrack are filled with rock stars, including Five Finger Death Punch, Tommy Lee, Papa Roach, The Who, Ice Nine Kills, Escape the Fate, and more. And I've already sat down with Zoltan Bathory from Five Finger Death Punch and Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach, who makes his acting debut in The Retaliators, to talk about the movie. Well, on this episode, you're getting a little bit of everything. First, through an interpreter, I talked to the Mongolian band The Who are out on the road with Five Finger Death Punch, Megadeth, and Fire from the Gods. They describe their music as a new genre called Hunu rock, which blends hard rock and heavy metal and traditional Mongolian instruments and Mongolian throat singing. Their music is featured on the soundtrack of The Retaliators, and the band also appears in the film. The second part of this bonus episode features star and producer of the movie, Michael Lombardi, who you may recognize from his role on Rescue Me. And it also features music icon Alan Kovac, who has been behind some of the biggest music careers in history. You may not know his name, but you know the artist that he works with. And he's already found a way to blend rock and roll and film together with the Motley Crue film The Dirt, among others. If you want to go back and listen to the first Retaliator special featuring Zoltan Bathory and Jacoby Shaddix, the link is in the show notes of this episode. So allow me to first introduce you to The Who.
Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie. Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Hi, guys.
Hello. Hey.
Thank you for sitting down and talking to me today. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yes, Joe, thanks so much for having us also.
There's a lot going on with the band right now. You release a new album. You go out on the road with Five Finger Death Punch, and The Retaliators is coming out.
Одоо хамтлагийн хувьд зөндөө олон зүйл болж байгаа юм байна те. Нөгөө нэг хоёр дахь альбомоо цэцчлээ. Тэгээд Five Finger болон Megadeth-тэй хамтлах үстэй ажил төгсгөн явж байна. Тэгээ одоо бас 캐논이 нээлт тусах гээд Retaliators гэх кино гарч ийн.
Тэглгүй яг уу маш одоо сэтгэл хөдлөж байна. Яг гэвэл бид бүгдийн бас маш одоо удаан хугацааны хөдөлмөр хүч одоо үр шим маань бас яг энэ цаг өдрүүдэд бас сайхан өгөөж хайрлаж байна. Яг гэвэл хоёр дахь альбом маань сайхан нээлээ. Дээрээс нь бид бүхэн бас Домогт Megadeth, Five Finger Death Punch, Five from the Gods гэх юм хамтлагуудаа гайхалтай түүр хийгээд явж байна. Дээрээс нь бас бид бүгдийн бас оролцсон энэ киноны нээлт бас яг өнөөдөр болох гээд байж байна. Жая тоглосон байгаа кинонд.
Yes, so the experience is so pleasant so far, and it's like a lot of hard works, and as you said, we're going on a tour with the Five Finger Death Punch and also legendary Megadeth, and also the movie premiere is today, so we're so excited and can't wait for it. And also our band member Jaya played on it, like he played as one of the character on the movie, so it's just so exciting news for us.
Does he get killed or is he killing people, or can you not say?
Хүн авдаг уу эсвэл хүмүүст алуулдаг уу эсвэл хийж болохгүй юу гэх.
Ярин танка нөхрийн дүр толсон байгаа.
Well, it's overall kind of like, it's like a thug, the guy who's like getting punished kind of thing.
Heavy metal and hard rock has always been a place that welcomes everyone. Is the Who surprised at how welcomed and loved their music is because it's so different from what would be traditional here?
Heavy metal болон hard rock ер нь ингээд хүмүүсийг айгүй ингээд юугаар эргээр ингэж өөртөө ингэж шингээж авдаг гинэ фэнүүд нь шингээж тэгэнгүүт танаа амтлагын хувьд одоо энэ юуны ертөнцийн фэнүүд та нарыг ингэж гоё хүлээж аваад айгүй их ингэж дэмжсэн. Та нарыг яг ямар байсан бэ гинэ.
Мэдээж та гайхалтай байлгүй яг хаа. Энэ бидний тоглож байгаа урсгал бол хүннүр рок, heavy metal, hard rock, энэ рокийн урсгал жанраас бол ялгарх тийм урсгалаар бидэд одоо тоглож өгөрлөө. Тэгээд heavy metal, hard rock одоо ерөнхий одоо энэ рокийн үүсэл үндэс бидний явсан тоглолтод бол одоо тоглож байгаа нэг стил жанрт бол тэр үндэс суурал байдаг.
Right. Yes. It's an amazing experience because not just as a new band, we came out with a new genre to this world stage, and that is called Hunnu rock genre. And also, even though we do rock, we also mixed it with our traditional instruments and music such as that. So maybe from that perspective, I think people loved it because it was like a fresh air, like fresh breath for everyone. So
growing up, what music inspired you to want to become musicians? Was it rock and roll from the US or Europe, or was it music from home that made you want to become musicians in the first place?
Танарах ингээ хөгжимчин болох гээд ингээ явж явах үед анх хөгжимчин болох тэр гараач одоо ингэж нөлөөсөн тийм хамтлагч юм уу те магадгүй Америкийн рок н роллууд, Английн рок н роллууд, эсвэл магадгүй Монголын нэг хамтлаг танаас сонсож тийм үү би өөртөө хөгжимчин болмаар гэсэн. Тийм.
Бид бүхэн бол бүгдээрээ одоо мэргэжлийн хөгжимчид тэгээд баг ухаан орсон цагаас эхлээл хөгжимд гүнд орсон. Тэгээд яалтчгүй бас дэлхий маш олон улсын алдартай одоо дэлхийд байгаа бүх хамтлагуудыг л бас хаан багасаа сонсож инспайр авч өслөө. Яг энэ тэргээ ялгаад явах гэхдээ ямар ч байсан ер нь бол амьд хөгжим одоо хаан багасаа ингээд сонсоод тэгээд бүгдийг бас ингээд дэвшлж явж байна.
Right. All of our members are professional musicians. So, ever since we were born, or you could say, we were so close with music. So when we were going through school and like growing up, we used to listen like a lot of different genres, not just rock, like pop, hip hop, and everything. So like from that perspective, we were so close with music, and I was so working hard on it.
Does it run in the family? Do their parents, grandparents, are they musicians as well?
Гэр бүл чинь болон эцэг эх чинь эмээ чинь хөгжимчин хүмүүс.
Манай аав ээж хөгжимчин хүмүүс.
Yeah, for Temka, their parents are musicians.
Манай аав ээж болохоор цэргийн хүмүүс байдаг. Гэхдээ манай ээж маш гоё дуулдаг. Манай аав нь гоё дуулдаг байсан. Манай ээжийн өвөө нь яг мориуш тоглодог хүн байсан юм лээ.
Alright, so for Gala, their parents were like military people, but his dad has a talent, his mother has a talent of singing, and I also like
ээж дуулдаг. Аав нь гоё дуулдаг. Ээжийн өвөө нь уурдаг.
So his great grandfather from father's side used to sing well, like really good, and great grandfather from the mother's side, he used to play modern horn, the horsehair fiddle. So maybe it passed down to him. So.
За манай ээж бол бас хөгжим дуртай сонирхолтой тийм юм байдаг. Саа маань бас хөгжим тоглодог, дуулдаг тийм юм байсан. Тэгээ манай ээжийн өндөр эцэг одоо нь л бас хөгжмийн зохиолч тийм юм байсан.
All right. So for Inkush, his mom, she also had like really great talent for singing, and his dad had also like a talent for singing and playing instruments such as that, and also his great grandfather from his mother's side, he also was like a really, really good
composer.
Oh, composer? Okay. He was a composer.
Манай одоо залуудаа цэргээс эхлээд цэргийн одоо хөгжмийн салаанд тэгээ дараа нь одоо соёлын хөгжимчин ээжсэн. Тэгээд бид аавынхаа мэргэжлийг үлсэн гэж боддог. Тэгээ ээж маань ч гэсэн ялгаахгүй юм олон нийтийн ажил хийдэг байсан. Дуулдаг. Тэгээд гитар тоглоод бүжгээ олчдаг ч гэдэг юм үү. Тэгээд өөрөнд нөгөө ээж аавынхаа л одоо тэр авиасан ажлыг үлж авдаг юм шиг байна.
So for Jaya, also both of their parents had a really great talent for music, such as like his dad. He used to like play like music in the military. Then he like later on he changed it to like a professional, like an artist kind of thing. And his mother's side also like she used to play like guitar and such as things, and also she could sing. So overall, his parents were just really talented.
I talk to a lot of musicians, and it's very common that it runs in the family. But ironically enough, it's also very common that there's military service in the family of musicians as well. And I'm not sure why that continues to come up, but it's very common. Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach included.
Одоо ингэж бас иймэрхүү юм өргөн байдаг гинэ. Шинэ хамт тууштай ингэж ярангуут дандаа юм гэрүүлээс удан тавьсан байдаг. Тэгээд заримд нь болохоор бас цэргийн юм харж ирдэг гинэ. Цэргийн одоо хөгжим байж байгаа цэргийн гэсэн байх. Тэнгууд бас ялгаагүй хин өөр хүн дурдах юм бол Jacoby Shaddix-ийг тиймэрхүү гинэ. Гэрүүлэн тийм хөгжим тавьсан цэрэгтэй холбоотой.
Not sure why military and music goes together.
Яагаад ингэж цэрэг болон хөгжим ингэж цогтой хавдаг би юусаа ойлгохгүй.
Мэдээж хөгжим бол өөрөө бас хагас зэрэгжилтийн зохион байгуулалттай байж иж бас сурдаг тийм одоо салбар байгаа. Багасаа бид бүхэн бас маш олон цагийн бэлтгэл сургуульд одоо хичээл зүтгэлийн үндсэндээр өнөөдөр ирсэн. Бид бүхэн одоо хөгжмөө барьж эхэлснээс хойш 20-30-аад жил ингээд 20 хэдэн жил 30-аад жилийн 30-аад хэдэн жил ингээд явж байна. Тэгэхээр энэ бол тэр чигээрээ бас зэрэгтэй маш төртэй одоо сахилга бат асгалаг хариуцлага бүх зүйл маш чанд байх хэрэгтэй тийм байдаг.
All right, so the music itself is usually called like half military because like for us, we did this music for like, we started it for like 20, like more than 20 years. So like it's just like military, you have to be like really patient. Takes a lot of skill to like a lot of time to learn our skills and such as things. So like you like from that perspective, I think it is why it's like really connected with it.
Тийм ч учраас одоо энэ маш урт хугацааны энэ аялалтын тоглолтууд, маш өдөр болгоны тоглолтууд, энэ ачааллыг даах чадварыг биедээ бол сэтгэл зүйдээ суулгасан байдаг гэж боддог.
That's why this journey and these tours we do, like this, like many days that we're going through. I think from like that, the patience we had before kind of helps us to like go through it, like be more tough, like because like we're always on the road, so like a lot of things happen, and like this past experience just helps us.
Always away from your family as well.
Yeah, yes, of course.
I do not have musical ability at all. And my voice is not a singing voice. But I'm fascinated by your singing style. Can you explain how you actually do it and what makes it different from other styles of singing?
Одоо ингээд надад бол ямар ч юм хөгжмийн авьяас байхгүй гинэ. Миний хоолоо бол дуулах зэрэгтэй хоолоо. Тэнгууд та нарын дуулж байгаа энэ арга техник байл айгүй сонирхолтой санагддаг гинэ. Яаж тэгдэг вэ? Тэр талаар тайлбарлаач.
За бидний дуулалтын арга бол ялч өрмөц яг л хөмөгөр дуулдаг. Тэгээд продюсер Дашках маань энэ хөмөгөр дуулах арга барилыг энэ хүн рокийн гол дуулалтын арга барил болгох энэ санааг бас энэ одоо уран бүтээлтэй маш тодор шингээж өгсөн. Тэгээд түүнийг баримталж одоо яг энэ дуулалтын арга барилыг өнөдрөж хүртэл ингээд яг хөмөгөр авч явж байгаа нь бидний бас одоо хүн рокийн их том онцлог ялгаа болж чадж байгаа. Тэгээд энэ хөмөг бол бид нар бас маш багасаа одоо ингээд хөмөлөд олон жил хөмөлөд өөртөө ингээд суулгаад явж ирсний үр дүнд бас өнөөдөр ингээд ихийнхаа одоо салшгүй нэг хэсэг болцгооцсон. Тэгээд хамгийн гол нь одоо тэгээ хөмөгөөрөө дуулцаагаад ингээд явж байна.
All right, you could say our singing is unique because like we use throat singing on our music. So like the idea of like using throat singing on our main singing skill came from our producer Dashka. He wanted this to be like the main thing of our band, like singing everything in like throat singing. So like going this far using our like throat singing skills and such a thing, and being successful is like all thanks to him. And so like probably the reason why we got this far is maybe that of the new rock. And also like we practice this throat singing since young age during schools and such as things. So like it's a lot of hard work and a lot of patience.
Is it possible for other singers to learn how to sing that way? Could Ivan or Dave Mustaine learn how to sing that way? Or does it require starting at an early age to develop the ability?
Одоо өөр тийм дуучтай дуулж чадахгүй одоо том нэртэй хүмүүс Dave Mustaine ч юм уу тийм тэр хүмүүс энэ хүмүүс сураад дуулж чадахгүй эсвэл бас нэг өөр нэг юм онцгой зүйл байдаг уу?
Мэдээж л одоо хүн лимчин хүнд хоолоо хүн болгоно байгаа учраас хэрвээ хүсээд хичээгээд тэр хэцүү зүйлсүүдийг нь давж чадах юм бол хүн болгон л одоо явах боломжтой. Мэдээж одоо энэ мундаг дуучид бол энэ бүгдийг бол толгоонд айл хэдийн хийцэн байгаа учраас арга техникийг хилээд жоохон хичээлэхэд бол хүн болгон чадах байх гэж бодож.
All right, as a human being, everyone has a throat. So if you just put a work into it and learn the correct way to throat sing, the techniques and skills. I think it's possible for everyone to learn throat singing. So
he's never heard me try to sing.
намайг ерөөсөө дуулахгүй жаавч та сонсоогүй шүү дээ.
Дуудал сонирхолтой хоолой гарахаар л сонсогчд энд байна л да. Хоолой нь бол.
So Jaya just said after like hearing your voice, it kind of sounds like it could be like really unique sound might come out from you.
And off key.
Нөгөө солгоо.
За тэгвэл хэрэггүй.
He said, then please don't do it in a funny way.
When bands are on tour and they run out of guitar strings or drum heads, it's pretty easy for them to get a hold of whatever they need to stay out on the road. How do they maintain their instruments? Is it common or easy for them to be able to fix them or get strings, or does it all have to come from home and be on the road with them?
Энэ болохоор нөгөө өмнө хөрөлсөн тийм юм байна. Одоо ингээд бөмбөр болон цахилгаан гитар ч юм уу биднес болохоор хэрвээ ямар нэгэн батгаа аваад юм дуусчих юм бол хальсаа солиход айгүй амархан. Гитараас солиход ч гэсэн ер нь Америкт айгүй амархан цахилгаан авчихна. Тэнгууд морин өрөө яадаг вэ? Цахилгаан нь байдаг. Хэрвээ яаж чаддаг вэ? Монголоос заавал зэгчээс хэлдэг юм.
За морин өрөө хувьд бол одоо тэр жахтар одоо хоёр тай хөгжим тэр утсыг одоо ерөнхий одоо нэг сард нэг солидог. Тэгээд морин хуурын одоо энэ их хэмзэг тийм хөгжим. Тэгэл одоо тоглолтын үед одоо чихтэй халуун үедээ л одоо утас нь одоо сонох одоо эсвэл одоо хөгн буух тийм эрсдэлтэй. Ер нь бол хамгийн тийм хэмзэг тийм ааштай гэж юм хэлэндээ. Утасны нам сторкар гэдэг. Өмнө цагт бол одоо адууны дэлсүүл орлуулж одоо хийж тоглодог байсан. Тэгээ одоо дэвшээ сторкар болж байгаа.
All right. So the instruments that we play, the Marine Corps horsehead fiddle, it's really unique instrument, and it has only 2 strings. And it's we change the strings like once in a like once a month. So I would say like this instrument is like really sensitive because like it has to be like really like taken care of. And when we play in a place with a lot of humid, the string could go stretch and things like that. It also could go like off tune. So like I would say it as it's like emotional, sensitive instrument.
Do you think Zoltan could learn how to shred on it?
Золтан тэрэн дээр ингээд шред хийсэн сурч чадна гэж бодож байна гэнэ.
Чадах байх нэг 20 жилийн дараа.
He said, I think so. Maybe about in 20 years later.
Тэм мустан бас айгуу сонирхолтой.
Тоглож үзсэн тий. Тоглож үзсэн. Гэхдээ юу л да эн чинь хөгжим гэдэг зүйлийг нэг тэр гүнд нь нэвтрээд ерөнхий нэг тэр сүнсийг ойлгоцсон хүн бол ерөнхий тоглоно. Гэхдээ ер нь бол нарийн тоглоход хөгжим бол хамгийн хэцүү шүү дээ.
All right. So they said Dame Mustaine also like came to our dressing room and tried to play it, and like Inkus just said that like if you could understand the soul of the music, he thinks that anyone can learn the instrument. So yeah, you just gotta put a work onto it. And also like this instrument with the string is like really hard to learn specifically. And also they said back in the days on fiddle, they used to use horsetail. They used to use horsetail for the strings, but these days it's a different material.
What is it like to be in a country that's never heard your style of music before and doesn't speak your language, and to see the amazing response coming from the audience and how much they love it?
Одоо ингээд өөр орнд ирээд те та нарын хөгжмөд юусэн сонсож байгаагүй та нарын хэлийг ч мэдхгүй тийм хүмүүс та нарын дуу хөгжмөд хүлээж авчаад айгүй гоё ингээд ирдээр буцаагаад ингээд хамаг спортлоод ингэж явах та нарыг ямар гэсэн бэ гэнэ.
Хөгжим чинь дэлхийд даяар одоо ямар нэгэн одоо нэг хэл гэж ярьдаг штэ. Хэл хязгаар байхгүй. Одоо ямар ч хөгжмийг сонсоод шууд ойлгодог. Нэгдүгээрт энэ утгаар одоо ингээд хүний сэтгэл зүрхэнд хүрж байгаа. Тэгээд Монгол хөгжим дуу хөгжим бас нэгэн сайхан онцлог чанар байна. Маш гоё аялгаутай байдаг. Тэм учраас хүмүүст одоо ингээд хүрхтээ одоо шууд тэр аялгау одоо өөрийнхөө одоо сүнслэг чанараараа шууд ингээд хүрчдэг. Тэгэхээр тэнд бол нэг хэл мэл нь одоо яг юу гэдэг байгаа одоо бас их тэр хүмүүс нэг сонирн биш. Одоо хамгийн сүүлд тавигдчих шүү дээ. Хэл нь одоо яг ямар утгатай байгаа юм болоо гэдэг зүйл бол тэгээд өвөрмөц одоо юм гоё дуулалтаар, өвөрмөц дууралтаар, аяр аялгаугаар, өвөрмөц хөгжмөөр, өвөрмөц хэмнэлнээр ингээд илэрхийлчихэнгүүт манай фэнүүдийн хувьд одоо ингээд маш сайхан хүлээж авч байгаа шүү. Тэгээд манай Хүнү рок маань өөрийн одоо онцлог байна. Энэ өөрийн гэсэн хөгтөө, өөрийн гэсэн хөгжмийн онцлогтой, өөрийн гэсэн дуулалтын арга барилтай тийм. Тэгээд монгол хэлээрээ дуулдаг. Маш гоё зөөлмнөр ингэж одоо хичнээн юм хүчтэй дуу байвч одоо ингэж их гоё зөөлнөр хүнд ингэж хүрдэг нь бас ингэж хүмүүсийн одоо таашаалаа хүртдэг гэж боддог.
All right, music has no boundaries. It has just one language. So like anyone can like listen and feel it even though they don't understand our language. And also, people really like appreciate our music because like our music is like really spiritual and it's like really different feeling because we use our traditional instruments such as like marimba, tafshor, and also the tor, things like that. Because from that perspective, it could like touch like heart to heart, like soul to soul. So also our this new genre, the Hundu rock genre, has like real like new tone on it. So it reaches to people like really in different way. So from that, I think that's why people love it. So like for that, also like we're really happy and so honored by it.
Well, I love it, and I'm going to see the band for the first time this Sunday. So I'm very excited when the tour is here in Massachusetts.
Би бас айгүй дуртай. Тэгээ би танаа амфыг одоо энэ сайн анхудаа Massachusetts ирэх үзэж байгаа.
Yes. See you soon.
So I will see you on Sunday. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's part one of this bonus episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast. I think that's the first time I've ever interviewed someone on the show via an interpreter. And if you want to hear The Who's music, check the corresponding playlist for this episode. It's linked in the show notes. Here's part two of the episode, featuring producers Alan Kovac and actor and producer Michael Lombardi. Hi, guys. Thanks for hanging out with me today.
Awesome. It's great meeting you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, Alan. I feel like I know you because there are so many bands that you work with that I either know, have played on the air over the years, have seen live, interviewed, that like I feel like you and I should be friends already.
After that, I think we should get married.
I think my husband might have a problem with that.
I think my wife would have the same issue.
And Michael, I feel like I know you already because Dennis Leary is a local hero here, and I grew up in a firefighter family. So Rescue Me was like, when I found out you were in this movie, I was like, oh my God, I love him.
Oh, thank you so much. Where are you?
Just outside of Worcester, his hometown, just outside of Boston.
Yeah, Worcester, Mass, huh? His dad was a mechanic there, you know. He grew up pretty hardcore, Dennis. He's a great guy. He's a guy's guy, and he does a lot for the firefighting community. I've learned a lot from him.
He's a hardworking guy, and people, Alan, tell me if you find this to be true as well, that dealing with people that are from this region of the country is a little bit different than dealing with people from anywhere else. New Englanders are an acquired taste.
Yeah, I think the England part is somewhere in there, the heritage. But yeah, it's an acquired taste. And, you got to get used to it, but it's a wonderful place to live.
And very passionate when it comes to love of rock music specifically. Like when we love you forever.
Gotta love that.
It's always been a theory of mine that like athletes always want to be musicians, musicians always want to be actors, actors always want to be musicians. Michael, you are a musician and this movie is filled with them.
Yeah, what an experience for me. Yeah, I had a band when I was younger, and I went acting full time, but my love of music and performing has always been there. So in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, I had a little record deal with MySpace Records at the time. They had a record label. So it's pretty crazy how it's come full circle, because then I've gotten to work with all Alan's incredible roster and communicated on that level and as actors, and we're mixing the two here. So it really served me, I think, having all that experience.
And also the writers were musicians that were also artists, music artists.
And horror and rock music goes so well together anyway.
Yeah, Alice Cooper, and on we go from there.
Yeah. Recently, I talked to Zoltan from Five Finger Death Punch, and I also talked to Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach, who's making his acting debut. First thing, perfect casting, making Tommy Lee a strip club DJ. Whose decision was that? Give them a raise.
That's pretty funny. Alan and I, go ahead.
I think the casting decisions were based on the personality.
Yeah.
And I think Tommy spent a lot of time in strip clubs and moonlights as a DJ, so it couldn't have been a more perfect role for him.
One of the things Alan and I talked about, we wanted to make a film first, and we wanted to have a symbiotic relationship between the genre audience or whoever goes to see this film and then the built-in core audience. But our goal was to make a real movie. So we were careful in the way that we placed the musicians. We talked a lot about where they would be cast, where they would shine. And, they're storytellers in life anyway. Just by nature, they tell with a song. But in this case, maybe just had to pull in a little bit, have it behind the eyes a little more. But every night, and Alan always says this, they're actors. They're telling stories, and whether it's through their instrument or as a lead singer. So they were all incredible in this. And our goal was, hey, if you didn't know that was of the band Papa Roach or Five Finger Death Punch, you'd just think they were actors in the film. And then yet they have an amazing song in the film as well.
Well, Jacoby's definitely got the acting bug. When I talked to him, he was like, I don't think this is going to be the last time I do acting.
Well, we got him an agent, so all he's got to do is make the time. He in his prep and his role, and I knew he would be. Same way we know that they're going to deliver great records and they're going to have great performances. And he is definitely a extroverted front man. So this worked very well for him and us.
He also described Zoltan and Ivan, specifically his performance, as, really bringing out kind of the twisted parts of Ivan's personality in this role as well.
Well, I think there's a lot more to go through, but yes, you see some of what the crew and management and everyone else goes through, but that's what makes Ivan great. Ivan is so passionate about everything he does, and it's great to see him in a film play that angry brother. It was great to see him excel in the role.
Alan, out of all the artists you have, does anyone have more of an overactive work ethic than Zoltan Bathory?
Probably Nikki Sixx.
Oh, yeah.
He and Zoltan share a lot of the same traits, and they love being entrepreneurial, and every day there's a whole new thing going on. So Nikki's got another book he's writing, got a TV show he's developing. He's got a musical he's going to try to get going again once musicals start touring again. So he's an amazing character, and they're both real, true, multi-talented artists. So when you have that talent and you only have one outlet, it makes it hard for them to be as creative as they can be.
So when it comes to putting a film together that's full of rock stars and a horror film that needs to hold up against the massive Hollywood movie studios, is there a better way to promote a film than an accidental penis selfie from Tommy Lee on Instagram? Like, do you just go, thank you?
Well, with Tommy, I think you know that's been a reoccurring theme over the decades. So for us, it's like, okay, what's going to happen next? And, that train wreck develops, and then you get everyone very freaked out. And then you bring them back home by saying, well, why is this freaking you out if you've seen it go a lot further, a lot deeper? So don't worry about it.
Pardon the pun.
That's funny.
Tommy, at the end of the day, is Tommy's just a guy that lets it, and this is going to be a little humor, lets it all hang out.
Yeah.
I was going to add that I was going to take that, Photoshop it, and replace it with a machete.
Well, Jacoby wants to Photoshop his head on the body.
Tell Jacoby I think he needs to.
Jacoby and I said that you can tell how old you are based on how many times you've seen Tommy Lee's penis break the internet. And so he and I are in that generation where we've seen it 2 to 3 times now.
Well, there you go.
Looking at the soundtrack of this film, there's not only a lot of established artists on there, but there's some up-and-coming artists like Eva Under Fire. And when you're talking about cameo appearances of musicians, I'm looking at it and it says, Eva appears at the beginning of the film, and I'm like, does that mean she can't appear at the end of the film?
But she was killed off.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
film and music is something that I don't think is appreciated as much as it should be. If you look at what happened with Queen after the Queen movie, or Motley Crue after The Dirt, or Elton John, or Stranger Things right now, and Kate Bush, algorithms talk to each other. Social media algorithms, YouTube algorithms, the film, the ticketing, and all that happens is a film gives another platform for an artist to be seen outside of their own audience. And what we were trying to create with the soundtrack in the film is to give up-and-coming artists and artists we already have a wider net than just being on streaming platforms and radio and YouTube. And it's really effective. And we just appreciate the artists trusting us and doing it.
Well, then there's artists like, local guys, Ice Nine Kills, where their music is inspired by those classic horror films and the movies they grew up watching. So there's a love affair with horror there with Spencer and the guys in Ice Nine Kills that I think takes it over the top.
Oh, big time. And his audience is important to us, and our audience is important to him. They may not know who Five Finger Death Punch are, or they may not be fans of Ozark. They may not be fans of Game of Thrones or Rescue Me, but they get an opportunity to bridge to those audiences by trusting us.
You've been working in rock and roll now for so long and have worked with some of the most legendary artists in music history. What was it that inspired you growing up, and where did your love of music come from that made you go, okay, that's what I want to do?
Well, honestly, my dad died when I was 15, and he was ill when I was 14, and I had to get a job. So I put up posters for a company called Southwest Concerts that did Frank Sinatra, Eddie Gourmet, Sammy Davis Jr. And I put up the posters. The guy would give me $15 a week in 1972 dollars. And I give it to my mom. And then one day I see he's got a book called Talent and Booking, and I start reading through it. And there's Bob Hope and there's Frank Sinatra, but there's also Led Zeppelin, The Who, Fleetwood Mac, all these bands I listen to. And I looked at him and I said, you should book the Jefferson Airplane, The Who, Rolling Stones, one of these bands. You'll make a lot more money. Everyone in my high school listens to it. So he books the Jefferson Airplane, and it sells out the Houston Coliseum. And
oh my God.
Not to give him another clue about what to book unless he gave me a real job. So then he gave me the real job of helping him find the artists. And that got me into the swing of things, so to speak. And it really bothered my mother. She wanted me, I was president of student council and made straight A's. And I ended up going to the University of Oregon as opposed to the kinds of schools she wanted me to go to. And I saw that they didn't have much entertainment. So I booked an act called Tom Petty for $1,250 and it sold out. And then I booked Patti Smith, the Talking Heads, Boston, just a ton of bands, Hall & Oates. And, from there, I said, wow, I'm making more money doing this than a lawyer or a doctor would make, and quit school.
Obviously, that was not a bad decision considering the career you've had.
It took her 30 years to get over it. But, I bought her a few houses and she liked those houses and she didn't drive, but she had a driver. So she ended up saying, this has been a great life.
Yeah. My son dropping out of college is the best thing that ever happened to me. Those are not words a lot of moms say.
No, she didn't like 1 year of college. She thought that was a suicide pact for a career.
Michael, growing up, what was the music that inspired you to become a musician? Who did you grow up loving?
I love all the bands of the 90s, Chris Cornell, Audio Slave, Stone Temple Pilots, Nirvana, Pearl Jam. But my first concert that I ever went to, my parents actually took me to Stevie Wonder. So they were way into R&B and Motown. Obviously Michael Jackson. This is when I'm going back when I was really young, but when I was able to go to concerts on my own, that's when I hit my stride in high school and after with those bands. I was able to see Chris Cornell acoustic set. He played for 3 hours.
Those shows were amazing.
Yeah, it was a year. It was about 8 months before, he died. And they were he sang like an angel, that guy.
There's so many people, and I can't even count how many decades they've been saying it, that rock is dead. So, Alan, you're the perfect person for me to have this conversation with because you've been working in the rock world for so long, and you've got so many amazing up-and-coming rock bands on the roster at the label, and a lot of them featured in the soundtrack of this movie. What do you say to people that say rock is dead? It's gone. The heyday is past.
If it's dead, then you wouldn't have the predominant artists that make money for Live Nation being rock. And it costs a lot more for a concert ticket and a T-shirt than it does to subscribe on streaming platforms, or it costs to buy vinyl or a CD. Basically, rock isn't dead except for the major record companies. The independent labels that are mostly rock and country, alternative, R&B have a market share that's 40%. That's as big as Warner and Sony combined. They've decided they need to make quarterly billing to keep their stocks up, and they want to manufacture music. You don't manufacture rock. A band woodsheds and plays, and they play their own instruments. It's not a mic with a bunch of songwriters and producers and effects. It's real instruments with real lyrics that mean something to the singer. And it's not the bottom line is it's because we have three major record companies, and those major record companies get their bonuses by hitting quarters. And the problem with incentives is they work. A rock band tours to grow their audience. These bands can't sell a ticket many times more than one actually breaks. So whether it's hip hop or pop, that they're selling, which is about 80% of all their income. It's to hit those quarters, and it's really, really taken a toll on the culture of music because it's not the real culture of music. It's their culture. And people that follow that music eventually grow out of it, which is why you see the catalogs that are being purchased aren't predominantly hip hop and pop. They're predominantly rock and country and R&B. And those are real artists with enduring music. And that's why I'm in that business. I was never in the business of manufactured artists. I watched a man who was doing Sammy Davis Jr. and Frank Sinatra and Wayne Newton, and they all had the same writers and producers. Well, what happened to that music? It went away eventually when a generation rebelled. And there was a band called the Beatles, followed by the Stones, followed by the Who, and all of music changed. So this is an epidemic created by major record companies only caring about money and not art.
A lot of the same things are happening in rock radio too.
Yes, absolutely. They're all consolidated with money people trying to make money as opposed to supporting the long-term vision of the radio station or the record company that they run.
Before I let you go, you're working in the music business for years. Now you're getting into film, and this is a horror film filled with rock stars. But it's still business, so you still got to get in the conference room and sit around the table. What's the craziest problem that needed to be solved making the Retaliators? Like a shortage of fake blood? How do we get the severed head to work right? Like, what conversation were you having where you were like, this is really the meeting we're having right now?
Michael, I think you're seeing where you go through the glass.
There were a lot of them. I want to say, too, you know what I can answer that by? I'll tell you this. Besides the challenges of making the film and the stunts and all the different challenges that you have to face from the story that you loved on the page to get to the screen, that's COVID. COVID was so tough, as I know it was for everyone, but we faced shutdowns. The protocol was tremendous. The tests were really expensive because you had to have the quick turnaround. So it was really tough. A lot of shutdowns, reshoots, pickups, very expensive.
And also
difficult.
the supply chain of severed limbs, getting them on time.
Well, shipping them to 4 states. The real story of this is the dedication of the artists and the actors. This took 2 years to execute during COVID. From March of 20, we were the second to the last film that filmed. Another film was filmed in Arizona, and then the entire industry shut down. So we had the storyline of the film done, but we didn't have some of the cameos. We didn't have the horror. And all of that, Michael was very impressive as a producer, working with our company to problem solution everything. So we went from New Jersey to Connecticut, and we shot in our hometown we could control. And we ended up in California, and then we ended up in Nevada. Now, throughout that, any actor or artist could have said, I'm done. this has been 2 years. I've got other things to do. They all showed up. And it was so inspiring to see everyone work together. We didn't lose one actor or one artist.
Well, to me, as soon as Labor Day weekend is gone, it's Halloween to me until Thanksgiving. And so the fact that we've got new horror movies and all of this amazing stuff that's coming out, like I'm already decorating the house for the trick-or-treaters. So the fact that Retaliators is coming out this weekend, I am 100% in.
Well,
All right.
Thank you for having us. And it's terrific that we finally met.
Yeah, it was great to finally meet you guys too. And I'm so excited about the movie. And also there's just such a long history of amazing and iconic rock music soundtracks that go with films, especially films like this. So, the fact that you were able to put this soundtrack and the movie together and to get it to come out in my favorite time of year, super excited.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. Shout out to Ralph's Diner. I played there.
Hell yes. I drank a lot of tequila in college at Ralph's. I think I had fun there. I can't quite remember.
It's a great venue.
Bye,
All
guys.
right.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
There they are, Alan Kovac and Michael Lombardi, the brain trust behind the new horror film, The Retaliators. If you're looking for Alan, Michael, the band The Who, more info on The Retaliators, or the corresponding playlist for this episode, all of the links are in the show notes. You'll also find the link to episode 115 of the Mistress Carrie podcast, featuring Zoltan Bathory from Five Finger Death Punch and Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach. And you'll find all the Mistress Carrie links there as well. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe and follow the Mistress Carrie podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday. Episode 119, featuring Nick Mason from Pink Floyd, is available now. And you also get the Situation Report. The sit rep is all of your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment info every weekday in less than 5 minutes. You can also join me live on my official Facebook page every Tuesday night at 8:30 Eastern for my video show, Cocktails in the War Room. And of course, you can listen to the Mistress Carrie radio show. The Mistress Carrie podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
I never thought about space in my cramped apartment, but in this house, all I see is empty space. The sofa and ottoman look like tiny islands in a sea of hardwood floors. I could get 2 ottomans in the living room, but then I'd need another sofa. I could tell people I'm into minimalism.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
At the Home Depot, we're dedicated to helping you build the skills that get your home projects done right. That's why we offer free and interactive online DIY workshops. During the live streams, our knowledgeable associates help you tackle your DIY projects no matter your age or skill level. You can learn how to install new single-pole switches, as well as standard duplex and GFCI outlets. Register for free at homedepot.com/workshops. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.